I almost unplugged my entire smart home last month, not because it was broken, but because it was driving me crazy, and the weird part was that it wasn't Alexa that was the problem. It was actually how I was using Alexa, and once I changed that, everything started working better, faster, smarter, and way less annoying. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I stopped doing with Alexa, what I replaced it with, and how you can make your smart home feel like it's helping you instead of constantly asking you what you want. Because if your smart home still needs you to babysit it, it's not really smart. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us don't actually have smart homes. We have voice-controlled homes where we walk into a room and say, "Alexa, turn on the lights." We leave the house and say, "Alexa, arm the alarm," and we go to bed and say, "Alexa, turn everything off," which isn't automation at all. It's just remote control with extra steps. I didn't realize how much mental energy that was taking until I stopped doing it, and it really hit me one night when I was half asleep, walking into the kitchen for water, and the lights didn't turn on, not because they were broken, but because I didn't say the magic words. And I stood there in the dark thinking, why does my house need my permission to do something this obvious? That's when I realized my smart home was built around my voice instead of my life. So I decided to flip the model, and instead of me telling my house what to do, I wanted my house to quietly understand what I needed, and that one shift changed everything. Alexa is great at commands like turn on, turn off, set this, and play that. But Alexa is terrible at context because she doesn't know if you rehome unless you tell her. She doesn't know if it's day or night in a meaningful way. She doesn't know if you're walking into a room or just passing through, and she doesn't know if you're tired, in a rush, or just hanging out. So when you build your smart home around Alexa commands, you build a system that constantly waits for instructions, and that creates tiny bits of friction all day long. And that friction is what makes people stop using their smart home, not because it's hard, but because it's annoying. So here's what I stopped doing. I stopped using Alexa as the brain of my smart home. And I still use Alexa. I just stopped making her the decision maker. Because I moved the thinking into automations that run quietly in the background based on time, motion, presence, and conditions, which means Alexa became the interface and not the manager. Think of Alexa like a receptionist and not the CEO, because she's great at taking requests but not great at running the company. And once I gave the decision-making to the system and left Alexa as the voice on top, everything started feeling calm. Before I controlled lights with my voice, but now I barely think about them because when I walk into the living room during the day, nothing happens since I dawn. Need lights when I walk in after sunset. The lights turn on softly, not full brightness, but just enough. When I sit down, they shift a little warmer. And when I leave, they turn off after a short delay, and I didn't ask for any of that. It just happens. And that's the feeling you want, not wow, tech, but oh, nice. The same thing happens at bedtime because I used to say, "Alexa, good night," and hope the routine worked. But now the system knows when I go to bed logically, meaning if it's after 10:30, my phone is charging. The bedroom motion sensor sees me, and the living room hasn't had motion in 15 minutes, then it's bedtime, so the lights fade off, the doors lock, the thermostat adjusts, and notifications quiet down without me saying a word. Once you live like this, going back feels exhausting because when something doesn't happen automatically, you notice it, and instead of thinking, "Should I tell it to happen?" you think, "Why didn't this happen?" And that's a huge mindset shift. Most people make mistakes when trying to automate, and the first one is trying to automate everything at once, which creates chaos and makes things turn on when they shouldn't and turn off when you still need them. So people think automation doesn't work even though it does when it's built slowly like habits. The second mistake is relying only on time, because time is useful but dumb since it doesn't know if you're home, awake, or if your schedule changed, so the best automations use time plus presence, motion, or light level to create behavior instead of just schedules. The third mistake is ignoring failure, because a good smart home degrades gracefully when something breaks. Meaning if the internet goes out or a sensor dies, you can still use the light switch. And that matters because smart homes should never take control away from you. They should remove friction and not agency. Once your home is built around context instead of commands, you unlock things like automatic energy savings where the system doesn't care what time it is, but whether someone is home, and safety where doors lock because the house is empty and not because it's 9 p.m., which is the difference between rules and understanding. I'm not anti-Alexa. I still use her for unusual things like playing music, asking questions, or controlling something temporarily. But daily life is automated, and that's what makes it feel invisible, which is the highest compliment technology can get. So the mindset shift is to stop asking your house to do obvious things and instead teach it what obvious means, like night plus motion equals light. No one home equals low energy and bedtime equals calm, because once your system understands obvious, you stop thinking about it and you get your mental space back. As sensors and AI improve, your house will start anticipating instead of reacting. Not in a creepy way, but in a helpful way that supports you quietly in the background. So the recap is simple. I didn't stop using Alexa. I stopped depending on her. I moved the thinking into the system. I let Alexa be the voice and not the brain. And my house stopped asking me questions and started giving me space. If your smart home feels noisy, annoying, or tiring, it's probably not the tech, it's the model. So flip it and build around life and not around voice commands. If this made you rethink your setup, hit the like button so more people find it. Subscribe to Build Smart Living for more ideas like this. And if there's one annoying thing in your smart home right now, leave it in the comments because I read them and might build the next video around your problem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.